Taking more and more debt is not good. This is what we have heard from everyone around us who doesn't know how money works. And most of the new investors get confused in interest only and principal and interest payments when they are purchasing their next investment. And most of the times they go for principal and interest payments because they want to reduce their debt at any cost. So in today's video, I will be sharing my thoughts whether you should go for interest only payments or should you go for principal plus interest payment, and what type of structures work better for interest only payments and what other structures are that work better in principal and interest only payments, and why most of the smart investors go for interest only payments when they are acquiring more assets in their acquisition phase. And if you are interested in learning this and interested to know my thoughts, stay tuned. So hi guys, this is John from Admire Property Group. I'm running an independent buyers agency where we help our clients in buying high performing real estate assets that grow in value with time and give a good rental income and cash flow. Basically making it a self-sustainable investment that doesn't put a lot of pressure on your finances and navigates you to the financial freedom eventually. And welcome back to another episode on my channel where I talk about real estate, financial literacy, financial independence, and passive income. And if you are new to this channel, make sure you click on the subscribe button and make sure you share it to your friends who can get value from this video. So first of all, we'll quickly discuss the two different types of the loans which are available to an investor, especially if you are new to the investments and you are considering getting your first investment in your property portfolio. So the first one is interest only loan. So with interest only loans, you just pay the interest on the borrowed amount during the term of the loan. So in these loans, there's only one component, which is interest component. For example, if you are getting a loan of $100,000 from a bank and at an interest rate of 6%, so you will be paying $6,000 in a year as the interest component of the loan. The principal amount of the loan will stay the same at 100,000. And the next is principal and interest loans. So in these type of loans, you will be paying principal plus interest component towards your loan. For example, if you're borrowing $100,000 from the bank at an interest rate of 6%, the bank will be charging you more than $6,000. It could be $7,000 or $7,500 as principal plus interest payment. So what happened? Like out of that amount, there is the principal amount and interest amount. The interest component goes towards the interest and the principal component goes towards the principal, and it reduces the principal amount every year. So in first year you are borrowing $100,000. In the second year it could go like $99,000. The next year it could go like $98,000. So in this way you keep on reducing your debt every year. And choosing the type of the loan basically depends on what type of strategy are you using and where are you in your strategy. You could be in acquisition phase, or you could be in holding phase, or you could be in debt reduction phase. And if you don't know about these phases, you can contact us anytime to work out like what type of strategy will work best for you. It depends upon your goals as well. If your goal is to buy your own home and you wanna own it in 30 years, you can go for the principal and interest payments because you will be paying the principal every year. So that will reduce your debt every year, and basically it will reduce your interest every year and you will be paying less interest, and in the end of 30 years you will own your own home. So this strategy can be considered as post savings as well, because it is forcing you to pay a little bit of amount towards your principal every year, so that this will reduce your debt and basically will reduce interest as well. So let's take an example of a property at principal and interest loan. For example, if you're buying a property of $500,000 at 90% LVR, which makes it like $450,000 of the loan, and if you're getting that loan of $450,000 at an interest rate of 6%, so in a term of 30 years, the total interest you will be paying will come out to be closer to $580,000. And on the other side, if you take the average growth of 5 years for that property, in most of the time, the average growth comes out to be 6 to 8% over a long term if you have bought at a good location. But I'm being conservative in this example and taking an example of 5% growth every year on an average basis for the property. So in 30 years, the value of property would be closer to 2.1 million. And if you see, so after 30 years, if you consider selling the property and the value has gone up to 2.1 million, and the purchase price was $500,000 and the loan taken was $450,000. So if you subtract the total of interest and the loan amount from the value of the property, the net worth comes out to be 1.1 million. So this is how the principal and interest payments work. So in 30 years time, you will pay the debt and you will be paying the interest, and after 30 years, you will be owning that asset. And the net value which you are getting for this asset is 1.1 million roughly after 30 years. Coming to the next situation, if your goal is to increase your property portfolio and you want to buy more and more assets in your property portfolio, you should consider interest only loans. Because when you are in acquisition phase, you want to use less of your money and want to use more of the others' money, like bank's money, as leverage to buy your next property that will grow in value with time. And when that property grows in 1 year or 2 years time, you can take equity out of the property and use it for the next property. And if you want to know how can you use the equity out of the property to buy your next one, you can click on the link above for that video or below in the description to see how you can use equity out of your first investment property to buy the next property. During acquisition, your main focus is to acquire more and more asset in your property portfolio. And when you have good number of properties in your property portfolio, after 10 years or 15 years, you can start working on your debt reduction strategy, where you can sell some of your portfolio, or maybe if you have bought 10 properties in 10 years, you can sell 5 of them to make the other 5 totally free of debt. And you can consider the rental income from those properties as your passive income in future. So with interest only, you will be paying only the interest component every month. That will save you extra cash, which can be saved and can be used for your next purchase. So in this example, with a loan of $450,000 at an interest rate of 6% for 30 years, you will be paying roughly $2,700 every month. But if you change the loan to interest only loan at the same interest rate at 6%, you will be paying roughly closer to $2,200 every month. So there is a saving of $500 for your cash every month, which can be used for the saving, and this saving in future can be used for your next purchase. That will help in paying the deposit for your next purchase. So let's compare this scenario with the principal and interest payments scenario. So for an investment of $500,000, if you are taking the loan of $450,000 at 6% LVR, then in 30 years, you will be paying the total interest of $900,000, which is a lot higher than the interest you pay for $580,000 in case of principal and interest payment. If you consider the extra cash which you are saving every month, if you invest that into another property and buy another property next year with the same value, I'm just taking the examples with the same value, like $500,000 worth of property at an LVR of 90%, and interest rate of 6%. So considering the numbers for the second property as same as first property, property of $500,000 at a loan of $450,000, interest rate 6%, the value of these two properties will become closer to 2.1 million each in 30 years. And if you consider selling both the properties in future after 30 years, the net value which you get from the property one will be closer to $760,000, and the same is for the property two. So the net total of these two properties will be closer to 1.5 million, which is a lot higher than net value of the property in your principal and interest only payments case. So in this way, if you just use the interest only payments and use the extra cash to buy more properties in next years, you will surely pay an extra interest on every property. But if you consider the long-term scenario, after 15 years or 20 years or 30 years, you will have more of the net worth as compared to just going for the principal and interest payments. You can consider this as this like, for example, if you are paying principal and interest payment and after 5 years you are considering investing in property, what you will do, you will take money out of the equity of the property and use it for your next purchase. So it is like going 2 steps back to get 1 step further, because you will be taking money out of your equity to buy your next property. So means whatever principal amount you have paid, you are taking it back out of you. So it's better, rather than paying principal every month, just pay interest only and use that cash quicker for your next purchase. So this is the reason why most of the smart investors want to pay only the interest. They want to use the cash for their next purchase so that they can buy more and more properties in the acquisition phase and can take the benefit of leverage from others' money, like banks' money. So this is like if you want to go from a point A to point B, which is around 25 kilometers away. So the first way is you walk and reach to the point B. The other method is you can hire a taxi and reach to that point quicker. I understand that boring powers are getting smashed these years, but if you want to learn like how can you increase your boring power, you can click on this video and see different tips and tricks which you can use to increase your borrowing power so that you can buy your next property quicker. And this will help you in getting financially free quicker. Being financially free is a good idea, but it takes a lot of efforts, and you should keep the emotions away from the logic and use the logic to buy more and more properties in your portfolio and hold them for a longer time so that they increase in value. And eventually when you sell some of your portfolio or half of your portfolio, that will help in getting your rest of the portfolio debt free and will give you a passive income which can be achieved a lot faster than going for buying one or two properties only with principal and interest payments. And in case of debt, inflation is our friend. So because the inflation decreases the value of the debt you take this year. If you're taking any debt this year, the value of that debt will be lesser by the inflation percentage next year. This is just like if you have got any asset, the value of the asset will increase next year. But if you got the debt, the value of debt will decrease next year because of the inflation. So inflation helps us in case of debt, provided you have done a good research and you have used data factors to find out the location for your need. So the next point is in Australia, the interest only stays for 5 years only. But what you can do is when these 5 years lapse, you can roll on and you can go refinance your loan and go to other bank and refinance it for next 5 years interest free only. So this way you can keep rolling on and can keep your loan interest only for another 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, or 30. Take the maximum benefit out of your investment portfolio. So in case of interest only, you might have to pay a little bit extra interest, but if you pay a little bit of extra interest and can get more assets in your acquisition phase, that will help you a lot eventually. As shown in the example before, the more the investment properties have you got in your portfolio, the better the net worth will be once you cross for like 15 years or 20 years and sell them. So the more the assets have you got in your portfolio, the better the net value will be. And other thing which you can consider is you can go for interest only for 5 years, 10 years, and when you have acquired sufficient assets in your portfolio, you can switch over to principal and interest and start paying principal to reduce your debt over the rest of the time. So the benefit of going for interest only payments is you get extra cash every month, which you can save as a deposit, and you can use that deposit to purchase your next purchase. This helps you in getting more properties in your acquisition phase as quicker as possible. So I hope guys this video has given you good insights about the interest only or principal and interest payments. And if you like that video, make sure you click on subscribe, like, and share it with your friends so that they can take more benefit from this video and they can use this principle in their next investment strategy. Bye for now.